When you encounter a trademark issue in your business, the smart move is to hire a trademark attorney to help you navigate that issue. But how can you know who to hire? Choosing the wrong attorney to help you with your trademark issue can have devastating consequences for your brand and your business that can last for decades. So making the right choice for yourself and your business is paramount. As a trademark attorney, let me walk you through some key factors you should consider when you need to hire someone like me. Hey friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Faith Minton, an attorney on a mission to simplify brand protection for entrepreneurs and business owners. On this channel, you will find tons of free, easy to understand, and practical insight about trademark to help you learn how to protect yourself and to stay on the right side of the law. And the most significant thing you can do to help yourself stay on the right side of the law is to hire a trademark attorney when you encounter a trademark issue. Now, if you are accustomed to hiring attorneys, you may already know what to look for. But if this trademark attorney is the first attorney you have ever hired in your life, it can be intimidating to figure out how you know whether one is a good fit for you. No matter whether this is your first time hiring an attorney or whether you are a veteran when it comes to hiring an attorney, you've got to realize that trademark stuff is a bit different than other legal stuff. And that is because trademark law is incredibly complex, but lots of people don't realize how complex it is. And this leads to tons of malpractice claims being filed against people who practice trademark law without really understanding the significance of its implications. And when you consider the consequences of a botched trademark issue, which could include losing the rights to use your brand, having to alter your complete brand identity, or paying damages to another party because you've infringed on their brand without realizing it, the costs can be staggering. So when it comes to choosing a trademark attorney, most business owners will need to make a leap. And we'll use this acronym to help us understand 4 key considerations that go into hiring a trademark attorney. Let's start with the L. L stands for location, because many folks are familiar with the fact that attorneys get licensed to practice law in a particular state, and some people have multiple licenses, but the general rule is that an attorney can only practice law in the state where they are licensed. When it comes to trademarks, however, that's not entirely true. An attorney licensed in any state can represent people who are located outside of that state in a trademark issue, as long as that issue is federal. Examples of federal trademark issues include anything related to a federal trademark application that is pending or that has been approved by the United States Patent and Trademark Office. So that includes filing new applications, responding to office actions, handling oppositions, and much more. It may also include doing things to monetize that registered trademark with the USPTO, such as licensing your brand. On the flip side, things that may not be considered a federal issue per se relating to a trademark could be a trademark infringement lawsuit filed in a particular state. In those cases, the rules may require that you have an attorney licensed in that state to represent you. And there are arrangements available where your attorney located elsewhere can partner with an attorney licensed in the relevant state so that you can maintain your relationship with the attorney that you started with. Another example of a trademark issue that may not be federal in nature has to do with filing state trademark applications. Yes, in addition to the federal government having its own massive trademark registration system, the states also process and approve trademark applications. The difference between the two is that the federal system covers the entire country, whereas state trademarks only provide protection in the states where they're registered. But the key point to take away from this location aspect of hiring a trademark attorney is that if you find an attorney that you like who is not located in the state where you are located, that doesn't necessarily mean that they cannot represent you. If the trademark issue is federal in nature, they just might be able to. All right, let's head over to the E, which stands for experience. The very first thing you want to do before you consider hiring an attorney is to make sure that they are actually an attorney. You will be shocked to know the number of scammers that are out there pretending to be attorneys or legal professionals without the appropriate credentials. Every state government has a website where you can go and search for all of the licensed attorneys in that state. So if someone is presenting themselves to you as an attorney, even if they have a nice fancy website online or really good social media, that doesn't mean they're an attorney. Go to the state bar website, search their name, and verify that they are actually licensed to practice law. A law license is the minimum when it comes to legal experience that you should look for when considering a trademark attorney. Beyond that, you'll want to know what experience the attorney has practicing trademark law. Are trademarks an integral part of their practice, something that they engage with every single day? Or is it something that they just have as an add-on to a general practice where they do a whole bunch of different things unrelated to trademarks? So when choosing an attorney, you could choose an attorney who only practices trademark law. There are plenty of these folks out there, and there are entire firms whose only job is to represent clients in trademark issues. Trademark law is that complex where people can have an entire practice dedicated to just that thing. People at that level will have deep, deep knowledge about trademarks, which can be very beneficial if you have a complex trademark issue, or if you just want to work with the very best of the best. But then there may be folks who have practices that trademarks are included as a part of, but may not be the center of their practice. So these may be general business attorneys who provide assistance on a variety of issues related to business, such as helping you form new businesses, helping with contracts, helping with copyrights and other forms of intellectual property, helping with tax issues or other related issues in addition to serving trademark clients. And in terms of attorneys who have this kind of experience, you may find a single attorney offering all of these services, or an attorney who was part of a small or mid-sized or even large firm where the firm as a whole provides this plethora of services to its clients. And if that's the case, you may be in a situation where you have an attorney who has a good fundamental, strong understanding of trademark law, but maybe not as deep as the people who are trademark attorneys only. But then you may encounter someone who practices trademark law, but also does divorce law and also does personal injury and estate planning and criminal defense and all of the others. That kind of person is practicing in different areas of law that are not necessarily complementary to each other, unlike the general business attorney who was practicing in complementary areas. Be careful about people who are in this third tier that I just discussed. Because their practice is so broad and so varied, they are very unlikely to have the deep knowledge of trademark law that you need to help you navigate the issue successfully. In other words, they may have a very general idea about trademark law, but not a deep understanding of its complex principles and nuances. So when it comes to experience, you can choose the person whose sole focus is on trademark law, who has the deepest experience with it, the business attorney who practices trademark law in addition to complementary areas of law, who will also have a good and strong understanding of trademark law, but just not as deep as the people who only practice trademark law. And then you have the folks who practice trademark law in addition to a bunch of unrelated areas. And these are the people that you want to steer clear from. Moving on to the next letter in the acronym, A, attitude. By this, I'm just referring to personality fit. Honestly, it doesn't matter if you find an attorney who seems knowledgeable, but who you just don't get along with. An attorney-client relationship should be a relatively close one. This person should come alongside you as your advisor, as your counselor. You should feel comfortable disclosing certain things about yourself and your business to this person and feel like you have a connection with them to be able to do that. If their attitude towards life and business is very different from yours, you're going to have a hard time making that kind of connection with your attorney. So if you're thinking about hiring someone as your attorney, take the time to figure out what their attitude is like. Find ways to assess what their personality is. Consulting with the attorney can be a really good way to figure out if you're a personality match. Can you understand what they're saying in the consult, or do they talk in what seems to be a foreign language, even though they're speaking English? But you may not even need to go as far as consulting with the attorney to figure out what the personality is, because some attorneys do charge for consultations, and you may not want to pay to figure out if this is a good personality fit. So how can you assess their personality for free? Check out their website. How does the copy read? Do you understand what's being said on the website? Check out their social media. Do they post at all? Is it warm and inviting, or is it more formal and stern? Which of those two things appeals more to you? And aside from the tone of whatever you're encountering, look at the substance of what you're encountering. Do you feel like you have learned something new? Because some attorneys are really education oriented and try to put as much content out there to help people learn things about the area of law that they practice. Whereas others are more sort of, you ask me, I let you know, and I will only tell you if you've paid me. And which of those is more attractive to you? Before you sign on the dotted line, make sure you do your investigation to figure out whether this attorney is going to be a good fit for you, because trademark issues can be quite intense. And in some cases, a representation can last for a year or more. So be sure that you feel comfortable dealing with this person for that amount of time. And last but not least in our acronym, P for pricing. Nope, I did not forget about the money. When choosing an attorney, cost is a significant consideration, and attorneys use different models. Some attorneys are hourly only, some attorneys charge you a fixed fee, and some do a combination of the two. So as you are figuring out what attorney to work with, make sure you understand their pricing model and that you have complete clarity about when you'll be charged for something and what that fee will be. And there is some degree of correlation between what the attorney charges and how much experience they have. Of course, a more experienced attorney is going to charge you more. And also, price is a reflection of the type of experience the attorney offers to their clients. You know that the beef you order at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse is going to be a lot different than the beef that you get from McDonald's. So an attorney charging a premium price is likely offering a premium service, whereas an attorney charging lower fees may not be offering that level of premium service. So when you are assessing who to hire, figure out what kind of experience do you want as a client. Do you value having a tailored experience, one that is custom to your unique needs, where you have an attorney who is highly responsive to those needs and who takes the time to truly understand what they are? If so, that's going to cost more. Or on the flip side, are you okay with being just a number where the approach to legal services is not custom to you and there is minimal personalized attention because the attorney simply doesn't have time for that because they have such a large volume of clients? If so, that's probably going to cost you less. And there's a reason why I put pricing at the end of the acronym. It's kind of fortuitous that P is the last letter in LEAP, but it also should be the last thing that you consider when hiring someone. If you start by filtering attorneys based on price and neglect the other aspects, you will miss out on working with some great people who can offer you an incredible experience that may, in the long run, end up saving you money. Because the truth of the matter is, when it comes to trademark issues, there is always someone who is willing to do it cheaper. And cheaper does not mean better. As a matter of fact, when it comes to trademarks, cheaper always means more expensive to fix down the line, if fixing is even possible, because there are some trademark screw-ups that are impossible to fix. So if cost is a concern, but you have found an attorney who you want to work with, who meets all the other requirements in the acronym, then it's worth having a conversation to explore how you can work with them rather than just completely foreclosing the idea altogether. And that's a wrap. Now you know the 4 crucial components of hiring an attorney: L for location, E for experience, A for attitude, and P for pricing. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more trademark content and turn on notifications so you never miss when I post a new video. If you've got thoughts or questions to share, please drop them in the comments. I read and respond to each one personally, and I would love to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.